We just has finished describing the brain, one of the organs of the central nervous system. But we have two. Now we're going to start describing the spinal cord, the second organ of the nervous system. And the spinal cord is located within the vertebral canal, which is just when you stack one vertebrae, one on top of the other, and all the vertebrae, all the vertebral foramina form the vertebral. Okay, let me rephrase that. All the vertebral foramina of each stacked vertebrae form the vertebral canal. And that bony structure is actually protecting the spinal cord. Where does the spinal cord begins? Well, you can recognize this structure right here, right? That hole in this bone is the foramen magnum. So it starts right there in the foramen magnum. But if you follow it inferiorly, it doesn't reach in adulthood. It doesn't reach the coccyx, not even the sacrum, not the all the way of the lumbar vertebrae. When we were fetuses, I'm talking like when we were 4 weeks old or around there, the spinal cord was or filled all of this space until the sacrum, coccyx maybe. But after that, the spinal cord was grew slower than your musculoskeletal system grew. So you grew faster than the spinal cord, and the spinal cord remains little, just reaching. This is the inferior point of the spinal cord that reaches about, well, in average is in between T12 to T11. For example, this one is at the level of T11, yeah, up to L3. In average, in any of these places, the marks the end of the spinal cord. Okay, so right at the end of the spinal cord, we will see that ends in this. Now I'm gonna change color so you can see better. Red maybe. Okay, this marks the end of the spinal cord. Can you see that end like in a conical taper area? That is called the conus medullaris. Conus, conical, medulla, because it's the spinal cord. Now, after that, what we're going to find are only roots of nerves. Let's put it in green. All of these are roots of nerves. It's not forming a core, okay? Roots of nerves and nerves and nerves and nerves. And when you put them all together, it looks something like this, okay? And we call that cauda equina, which is the horsetail. It looks like that. Now, at that level, and I'm gonna get blue for that, from the conus medullaris, which is the inferior tip of the spinal cord, all the way to the sacrum and coccyx, we're going to find one ligament. Now, this ligament, usually we know ligaments as, extending from bone to bone. Well, this one is located from spinal cord to the bone and is called the filum terminale. It's a kind of a ligament, meaning that it consists of connective tissue. And what it does is it gives support, it anchors this distal end of the spinal cord to a bone. So it's not floating and moving all around as we jump, juggle, and move. Okay? So I don't see it in here, but it will be a ligament attaching the spinal cord here to the sacrum and coccyx. Okay? Now, that's to provide longitudinal support to the spinal cord. On either side, now we need something to hold the spinal cord so it doesn't move laterally as we twist our body. And for that, we have, I cannot see them in here. I'm gonna just draw them in blue too. They are called denticulate ligaments, and they are ligaments extending from lateral portions of the spinal cord to the inside of the vertebral canal. And they are called denticulate ligaments, and what they do again is provide lateral support to the spinal cord. Now, there's two more things that we're going to describe in here. One is what I haven't used, magenta. When you see this anterior frontal view of the spinal cord, look at the width of the spinal cord, how it changes in here. It enlarges a little bit. It has like a bulge in here. Then it becomes normal again. It's not so evident in here, but around here, there is another bulge. And those are called the cervical and the lumbar enlargement. And they are located in there because the nerves that are coming out, all of these nerves are spinal nerves, are coming out from the spinal cord at the cervical and at the lumbar level. They form a network or a plexus that is going to innervate or provide nerve supply to the muscles and structures of the upper limbs, that's the cervical enlargement, and of the lower limb, that's the lumbar enlargement. What else do I want you to tell you from here? Well, from each, we can see here the spinal cord, and I want you to remember, beautiful picture, huh? So we have three vertebrae here stacked one on top of the other. We have right in between the two bodies, vertebral bodies, we have we have the intervertebral disc, right? This is the body. Here you can see, we can see the lateral aspect of the vertebral foramen, and when one vertebral foramen, another vertebral foramen, I stack them, all of them, and I form the canal. And here within the canal is when I'm going to find the spinal cord. So it is a cord. See, this is the yellow structure is the cord. Now, the other thing is that laterally, and this I hope is a review for you, laterally read, when we stack all of those vertebrae, we form the intervertebral foramina, right? And through that intervertebral foramina, spinal nerves are coming out from the spinal cord exit through those foramina. And then we will see that they branch, and then we'll describe a little bit more of that. Okay, so that's where we at. We are just described the longitudinal or the anterior view of the entire spinal cord. In the next section, I'm going to go in a little bit more detail of the structure of the spinal cord.